Hey everyone, it's Hans, and welcome back. The keyboard, a device that is often synonymous with work, but one which is prevalent in pretty much all modern day mobile devices. Whether digital or physical, most people are familiar with what a keyboard is, which is essentially a rectangular device with a whole lot of plastic keys with letters and numbers on them to allow us to input digits into programs or software in order to get a desired result. Of course, thanks to the evolution of technology, keyboards have become digitized in terms of how we use them on mobile devices. With that said, actual physical hardware is still very much prevalent today, especially if you are a gamer. And this is where Logitech G's G815 keyboard comes into play. A brand new premium keyboard aimed specifically at gamers. So what is this keyboard like? Is it worth your moolah? Let's find out. The keyboard's packaging is pretty decent. It has the main keyboard on the front with the G815 logo. It tells you all about the keyboard on the back. There's even a pretty cool little side bit which gives you the actual dimensions of the keyboard. Let's just slip off the main cover. A simple black box with Logitech G logo emblazoned on a piece of cardboard. Take that off. And there is the keyboard itself. And I must be honest, it's actually quite a beautiful looking keyboard. If you take the keyboard out, there really isn't much else in the box, with the exception of some user materials and documents and a Logitech G sticker. I'll be honest, when I first saw the Logitech G G815 keyboard, I was impressed. It is a beautiful looking device. Made out of an anodized aluminium on the front with a plastic back, it really feels premium in the hand, and I must be honest, it's actually quite weighty as well. So let's have a close look to see just how this keyboard differs to other keyboards in the market. First things first, this is a full-fledged keyboard. This means that in addition to all of the traditional keys that most keyboards have, it also features a numpad as well as a variety of other keys spread across the front of the unit. Most notably, above the numpad, the G815 has a really great volume rocker made out of the same anodized aluminium as the front of the keyboard. It feels cool to the touch and is easy to roll and is just super useful. Directly below the volume rocker are 4 media keys. These allow you to fast forward, rewind, play, pause, as well as mute audio. And I must be honest, it is quite evident that Logitech took some time when designing this keyboard, because having the media keys directly below the volume rocker is just insanely useful and 100% logical, and it really is a great design choice. In addition to all of the standard function keys that all keyboards have, the G815 also has 5 unique G keys. These can all be programmed using the Logitech G Hub. Although I'm sure they've been designed for games whereby you can use them to bring up certain weapons or inventory items and so on and so forth, I actually found them to be super useful from a productivity perspective. And this is honestly an area where the G815 keyboard, in my opinion, not only excelled but really surprised me. I wasn't expecting to use it in that circumstance, and when I did, I found it to be incredibly useful. Being able to switch between design apps and other productivity apps just at a moment's notice with a single button press really helped elevate this keyboard above others. In addition to the G keys, it also has 4 rubberized macro keys on the top of the keyboard. Now, another great thing with these is that these can be programmed within the Logitech G Hub software for games as well as productivity. And once again, this really surprised me. I absolutely love the fact that the G Hub software is not linked exclusively to video games, and that allows you to basically use any application on your computer for whatever purpose you like to be programmed on the keyboard itself, therefore making it infinitely useful. Right next to those keys are 2 additional keys, one meant for gamers and the other one the light sync key. The gaming key is essentially a disable button key, allowing you to disable buttons that aren't used for games, whereas the light sync key allows you to turn light sync on and off or adjust the brightness. In terms of light sync, the different profiles can be selected in the Logitech G Hub, and there are quite a few to pick from. One of which I must mention, which is the Echo profile, and it's one of my personal favorites, and essentially it allows you to pick a base color for your keyboard, and then as you type, a different color appears, and it just gives a really cool fading effect. In terms of light sync support, much like other light sync products, the G815 keyboard is able to reproduce upwards of 16 million colors, and they can all be programmed to your liking, whether that's making your keyboard look like Diva's suit in Overwatch, or perhaps just whatever background you're currently using on your desktop. Those options are available to you, and I love the fact that Logitech has allowed this keyboard to be so customizable. In terms of the rest of the keys on the keyboard, they're made out of a smooth, shiny black plastic. At first glance, it looks fantastic. However, and this is a big one, they are literal fingerprint magnets. This means that as great as this keyboard looks, the more you use it, the worse it's going to look. So I highly recommend that if you do get this, that you have a cleaning cloth available, because it really does pick up oils from hands quite a bit. Logitech's G815 keyboard is also a wired keyboard with a direct USB connection to your computer. This means there is no input lag, which is perfect for people who need those twitch responses for games. In terms of the cable itself, it is a really thick, braided, and really well-made cable. It looks durable, and it has 2 USB connections on it. Essentially, one connection is to connect to your computer so that you can actually use the keyboard and power it, whereas the second connection is used for the USB pass-through, which the keyboard has. Not only is it great for inserting USB thumb drives, but you can also use it for a USB headset or perhaps a USB mouse, therefore taking up less USB spots on your actual computer. It's really good that way. Although the top of the keyboard is aluminium, the keys are plastic and the back of the keyboard is also plastic. This also means that the legs, which you can use to prop up your keyboard to an elevation that is most comfortable to you, are also plastic. Despite this, they seem quite robust. It is also quite sturdy. It doesn't really have much give, which I really like. Even if you try to bend it, it's really quite a sturdy device. And it means that no matter what you do with it, whether you throw it across the room and rage quit one of your games, this keyboard is going to survive. One of the most interesting elements of the G815 is how it very much resembles a laptop keyboard. And by this I mean it has a very low and thin profile. This is attributed to Logitech's GL switches, which are now featured in the Logitech G range of keyboards. These new switches have a pretty cool heritage if you do look into it. It is a little bit confusing because it has to do with how Logitech once used Roma G keys and Cherry MXs, and then eventually went and developed their own, thus creating the GL switches that we have today. And I can personally say I think that Logitech have done a fantastic job. From the accentuation on the keys to the way that they move and the throughput, it genuinely feels very good under the hand. Whether you're gaming or typing out a long Word document, I have found that the keys work exceptionally well. And this is what gives the Logitech G815 such a wonderfully thin and premium feeling profile. In terms of Logitech's GL switches that are available on the G815 keyboards, there are 3 different kinds to take note of. The first is the GL linear switch. This is effectively the stealth switch in Logitech G's lineup. These don't feature any tactile feedback and feature smooth keystrokes from top to bottom. Then you get the GL clickies. Now this is on the other end of the spectrum versus the GL linear. These have a very hefty tactile bump and make quite a loud key press when pressed. And lastly, there's the GL Tactile, which fits in between the linear and the clicky, essentially giving you the best of both worlds, because from what I understand, these give you a little bit of a bump midway through your press and have a decent sound to them. Unfortunately, I didn't have the GL Tactile on hand to test, but I was lucky enough to receive both the GL Linear and the GL Clicky, and I think we should listen to what both of them sound like. Overall, I have been really impressed with the Logitech G815 keyboard. So now it comes down to whether or not I think it's worth the price. So the G815 currently resales for $199 or roughly 3,000 Rand. And to be frank, that is on the higher side of the keyboard spectrum. With that said, and speaking of the keyboard from not just a gaming perspective, but also from a productivity perspective, which really surprised me, I would say that at least in my use case scenario, the keyboard is absolutely worth it. It has a phenomenal build, it's strong, it's sturdy, it feels good under the hand. And again, I know that I keep mentioning the productivity aspect of this keyboard, but it genuinely surprised me. I mean, I came into this review expecting the G815 just to be a good gaming keyboard. And yet I came away impressed by just how customizable it is from a productivity and work perspective. So in that regard, to myself, I think that this keyboard is worth the money. If you enjoyed this video, you know what to do, and I look forward to seeing you all again soon. Ciao for now.